Hey noble ones, welcome to Metatron's Academy. Don't mind Super Mario here. After I'm done filming this, I'm going to start filming for my gaming channel. If you're not subscribed, link in the description and pinned comment. I was browsing through the internet and I actually found this video here. And I thought, wow, that's a very nice thumbnail. Look at the red with Sicily and the flag and the Italian and green and Sicilian and Italian flag. It's nice, it's nice. So, doesn't have many views though. So let's see, Sicilian versus Italian, and perhaps it deserves more views, so let's go.
Bella Sicilia.
Wait, shouldn't that be bella? Well, technically, yes. Bella is the Italian word for beautiful. But
Correct.
in Sicily, the local language is called Sicilian and surprises await around every corner. Don't believe it? Try asking for directions in your polished Italian at one of Palermo's bustling markets, and chances are you get a colourful response sprinkled with exotic terms like
A così.
Yep.
Così.
Yep.
so. Or you might hear
Ah, così, absolutely.
Ma va scusare. Le chiedo scusa.
Yes, but the voice doesn't sound Sicilian at all. I think it's some kind of machine-created voice. I would say ma va scusare, ma va scusare. I wouldn't say scusare with a Sicilian accent. So yeah, the accent is wrong. Ma va scusare, mi scusasse is another way to say mi scusasse, but both are fine.
meaning I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
From its history to its grammar, in this video lesson, we'll explore the key differences
Nice.
between Sicilian and Standard Italian.
For those who are here for the first time, I'm Sicilian.
Pronti? Iniziamo!
Iniziamo. That was a well-pronounced iniziamo, so maybe she's proficient in Italian. Also, for the first variety, the word bedda, the pronunciation and the way it's used is very different depending on which regional variety. There isn't one single Sicilian. In fact, the different versions of Sicilian that you have in Sicily, sometimes not mutually intelligible. That's how different they are. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. And we use very different pronunciation between Palermo, Messina, Catania, Agrigento, Gela, Ragusa, Canica, T, Trapani, Erice, whatever. For instance, bedda, one way. In Palermo, I would say bieda. I would add a E in there, and I would lose a little bit of the J sound of pronunciation of the D, but that depends. So it's more of a rural, although then again, it depends on the section of Sicily. There are some cities that do pronounce it that way, bedda. So you have variety. Cool.
Now, while Italian might be the official language of Italy, every region proudly boasts its own dialect, accent, and linguistic quirk.
Is it a dialect? That is a question for sociolinguistics, really. The reality is that I think even though in Italian we call them I dialetti, so we do call them dialects, technically it is more correct to consider them as regional languages, because sometimes there is more difference between a regional language in Italy and Standard Italian than there is between freaking Spanish and Standard Italian. So how is Spanish a different language, but the dialects are just dialects of Italian? In fact, they're not dialects of Italian. If you look at a language like Sardinian, if you look at a language like Sicilian, in this case, and other languages like Furlan and whatnot, it's more correct to say that they are independent sub-dialects of Latin. Not Vulgar Latin, by the way, before I go into a rant. There is no such thing, Latin.
After all, Italy only became a unified nation
Yep.
in 1861, and before that,
Yep.
it was like a patchwork of independent
Correct.
states, each representing a unique identity. And boy, did
And culture.
Sicily add some serious uniqueness to this mosaic.
Some of the uniqueness that she's going to discuss have to do with the languages that have influenced Sicily. Do remember that Sicily was a prized island for tactical reasons, for strategic reasons. The Romans, the Greeks, the Carthaginians, they all wanted Sicily. Phoenicians, and then even after that, you have the Norman conquest of Sicily, which is one of the reasons why in Sicily you will have people like me with very dark hair and black eyes, and then you have people who have blonde hair and blue eyes. And I mean, and then you have people with a much darker complexion than me. So it's very varied, and we had Muslim conquest for a certain period of time. We have Spanish conquest for a reasonable period of time. We were Romans, we were Greeks. There is a lot. Okay, so all of that bleeds naturally into the expressions and language usage. So it's a very rich region, culturally and linguistic, but it's also very diverse.
Truly fascinating is that Sicilian isn't just a simple dialect, but a
Thank you.
distinct language in its
Okay, there you go. You just gained 10 points with me.
own right. Just
Yep.
consider that, according to the UNESCO's World Atlas of Languages, there are some 10 million speakers worldwide. That's a seriously impressive statistic that
Yep.
speaks volumes about its significance and enduring cultural impact. Now, Italian and
I like her.
Sicilian both belong to the Romance language family, tracing their roots back to Vulgar Latin.
No, no, no. I still like you because you got a lot of points. You just lost 10. There is no such thing as Vulgar Latin. They all came from Latin. I might qualify that in a minute.
However, Sicilian is unique because it reflects the island's intricate
Yeah.
history, shaped by centuries of cultural exchange and
She's
foreign
right.
influences.
Absolutely.
For more than 3 millennia, Sicily's strategic position in the heart of the Mediterranean,
Yeah.
coupled with its gorgeous landscapes and fertile land, attracted a myriad of civilizations.
Oh yeah, wheat was this is wheat production, I was going to say. The bread of Rome in a way, together with Egypt. Yeah, this is Selinunte or Agrigento Valle dei Templi. One of the two.
The Greeks were some of the earliest to leave their mark here, setting up cities
Does
like
it suggest that?
Catania, Siracusa, and Taormina, along with grand temples and theatres.
Yeah.
Then came the Romans, who ran the show for about 5 centuries,
Yeah.
turning Sicily into Rome's granary, supplying
There we
the
go.
Roman Republic with large quantities of wheat
Her historical knowledge is great.
for extensive agricultural exploitation.
Yeah.
After them, a parade of peoples, including the Ostrogoths, Byzantines, Arabs, Normans, and the Spanish, each added their own flavour to the mix.
Yeah.
Now, as you can guess, all these influences left their trace on the language. Sicilian soaked up words and phrases from these diverse populations, resulting in a linguistic heritage unrivaled by any other language. Now, just to give you a taste,
I'm not sure if it's unrivaled by any other language, to be fair with you, but I do appreciate the sentiment.
here are some Italian words borrowed
Okay.
from other languages that are still used today,
Italian or Sicilian?
meaning boy. This comes
Yeah, so in Palermo we don't use this. Of course, she's absolutely fine putting it here because she wants to tell you where it comes from. The Greek, great, fantastic. In Palermo we don't have this, but Palermo, as being a Phoenician city, makes sense. And we instead say picciotto.
from Greek.
Cirasa,
Yeah,
ciliegia,
we do have chirasa where I'm from too.
Meaning cherry. This also comes from Greek.
Yeah,
astura,
yeah.
a quest'ora,
At this
Asur.
time,
Asur.
from Latin.
brescia, fretta,
I never heard that one, but it might just not be common where I'm from, and maybe they do. If you're from another area of Sicily and you do use that, great. I never heard it.
Hurry, from Latin.
abbanniare,
Abbagnare.
gridare,
Correct. Yeah, that's the scream, to shout. Yeah, I do use that. Ancora gabbannesi. You're still screaming. Ancora gabbannesi. State zitta. Ancora gabbannia.
To shout. This
Yeah.
comes into Sicilian via German,
mischino,
Yeah, we use that
Poverino.
a lot.
meaning
It's from Arabic. Yeah, we saw that in a different miskin in Arabic. We say mischino. We do use it in Palermo too. Mischino.
unfortunate person, from Arabic.
Yeah.
giara, recipiente di terracotta per liquidi,
Yeah, okay, no Italian. You can say giara in Italian. Recipiente di te. Just say recipiente at that point.
Jar, also from Arabic.
scerra, lite,
No, it's not scerra. That's wrong. It's spelled correctly. It's sciarra. The A is pronounced A, not E. So the voice was wrong. Maybe it would be better if they get an actual Sicilian to record these. If they want, more than happy to do it for them for free. But yeah, sciarra, we do use it. Lite would be the Italian, and it's an argument, not an intellectual argument, by the way. A sciarra, it's like, it's a sciarra. Da sciarriare. It means, do you want to have, kind of like, do you want to fight? Da sciarriare. Okay.
From French, we have words like
armoiro, armadio,
I personally have never used that, but once again, it does sound right. So, depending on the area.
wardrobe,
racina,
Yeah, a racina. Sì,
grapes,
racina.
buatta,
A boatta, sì.
barattolo,
That's correct.
tin. And from Spanish, we
Un
have
curtiglio. Yeah, we do have that.
curtiglio,
In fact, someone who is like constantly gossiping is cuitigliaro. Ma vedi su cuitigliaro.
olezzo,
Yeah,
gossip,
cool.
pignata,
Yeah.
pentola,
saucepan,
Iurna,
I have to say, if someone asks me how you translate saucepan, piñata would be my first choice. I'll be honest.
Giornata.
Ioinada.
Day.
Yeah, ioinada.
What's really interesting is that Sicilian actually helped shape the first Italian literary language.
That's true. Sicilian poetry was rivaling with Tuscan poetry and the Dolce Stil Novo.
In the 13th century, during the time of Emperor Frederick II of Swabia, Sicily was home to the Sicilian School, a
Yeah.
group of poets who were way ahead of their time.
True.
They introduced new literary techniques like the sonnet, which heavily influenced Western literature. Their work gained such widespread acclaim across Italy that even Dante, in his book,
True.
De vulgari eloquentia.
wrote, "Everything produced by Italians in terms of poetry is called Sicilian." Now,
Thank you, Dante. I really appreciate that, Dante. Because of that, you should go to heaven.
Sicilian and Italian indeed share some common grammatical features, such as the distinction between two genders, masculine
Yes.
and feminine,
Yeah.
and numbers, singular and plural, as well as definite and indefinite articles, and much more.
Yeah.
However, Sicilian has its own unique grammar, vocabulary, and a way of speaking that sets it apart.
When it comes to the unique grammar features of Sicilian, some of them are just conservative from Latin, like the idea of we only do it in emphatic clause, but the idea of putting the verb at the end, for instance, we do that a lot. Even when we speak Italian, sometimes we forget and do it, and we will put a verb at the end. Again, we just usually do it for emphasis. For instance, if I want to say I am Sicilian, I would say sogno siciliano. Sogno siciliano. Siciliano. But if someone is like, oh, how is it that you speak Sicilian? And I want to emphasize, well, I am Sicilian. Then I would say siciliano sogno. Or, even if I'm speaking Italian, Siciliano sono. So, yeah, we do that. We swap it. And I think we are the only ones to do it. I don't know if Sardinians do it. Maybe Sardinians do it too. But I think it's only an insular thing, not a peninsula or continental mainland thing. They don't do it.
It's so distinct that the language coding agency, SIL International, has included Sicilian in a specific code, denoting living languages. This means
Of course.
Sicilians could be considered bilingual in a way.
Thank
Now,
you.
Don't panic, Italian remains the official language spoken in Sicily.
It is, yeah.
Just like it is throughout Italy. Now, you won't find Sicilian taught in local schools. Instead, people pick it up through everyday conversation.
Yeah, in the family, and then depending on how much. Sometimes, this is, I mean, I'm going to say it's just how it is. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but sometimes if you speak a lot of Sicilian, it's because you were a little bit uneducated. It's not always the case, though, but it is sometimes the case. So you will find a commonality. There are people that speak Sicilian, they're highly educated, but then you also have people that speak a lot of Sicilian, and in fact, their Italian grammar is pretty bad. In that case, you will notice that if you go to areas where there is a general lower level of education, people tend to speak more Sicilian. This is not always cause a link, so I'm not trying to be classist or anything. I myself do speak Sicilian because I enjoy picking it up. With that being said, with the exception of the word piñata, which we said earlier on, I am one of those Sicilian who preferably speaks Italian. So in my house, also because my dad doesn't speak it, he's from the north. My mum is from Sicily, was from Sicily, should I say. We chose to speak Italian first. So we were kind of that middle class, if you will, where the preferred language is Italian, but sometimes we can switch to Sicilian if we want to.
Despite this, Sicilian is still widely spoken on the island,
Yep.
especially in casual settings with
As it should be.
friends and family. You might hear it more often in remote villages
Yeah.
or among older generations.
True.
And sometimes it's mixed in with standard Italian,
Yeah, the mixing is probably the most common thing.
making it even trickier to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Even Italians from the mainland find Sicilian challenging to grasp.
You will find some people in the comments that I'm from the north and I can understand Sicilian perfectly. And usually it's because what they have heard is a very standardized version that you find on TV. But if they do come to a local rural area, they will not understand a word. You know how I know? Because sometimes I struggle. So there's no way no way. Like, because I'm from the city, I do speak Sicilian, I understand it even when it's very broad, like where they're using really full-on Sicilian expressions. But it has happened to me that when I speak to like elderly people, particularly in rural areas, and they're using an even more archaic version of Sicilian than mine, I struggle to understand them. And I'm like I have to ask them to repeat several times. So yeah. It depends. There is no one single Sicilian, as I say again. So just because you may have watched TV series where there was a Sicilian character and they specifically chose those words that they knew that the public would have understood, that's anecdotal.
So don't be discouraged if you struggle a little along the way.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
yeah.
take a closer look at some key differences that
Yeah.
make Sicilian stand out. Different pronouns and articles.
Yeah.
Now, starting with the basics, Sicilian personal pronouns are different from their Italian counterparts. Take
Io,
Some people say io, some people say you, like they're saying you, like it's written there. It's more of an Eastern pronunciation, and it's only found in certain cities, not even all of them.
I,
tu,
Yeah,
tu,
tu is the same.
you,
idru, lui,
Once again, I would say iddu, so I wouldn't do the j pronunciation of the d, but some people do. So it's not incorrect. It's once again area specific.
idda,
Idda,
lei,
yeah,
she,
vossia,
vossia, which is the shortened version of vostra signoria, your lordship. That's what it means, vossia.
lei,
formal,
nuautri,
Yep.
noi,
Which is kind of similar. It literally means we others. So it's similar to Spanish nosotros. It's probably where it comes from. Same for vuatri. You
voi
others.
altri,
You,
voi,
yeah, you others.
you,
id,
Vosotros.
di,
Yep.
essi,
Idi.
they,
ide, esse,
No one says SES in standard Italian. It's only written and we memorize it as children. Everyone in the spoken language will substitute these in standard Italian for loro. Loro. Loro.
they. The definite articles in Sicilian are
u,
Yep.
for,
Ooh.
il,
the, masculine,
Kind of like Portuguese, really.
as in
u cavallo, il
Sì.
cavallo,
Un cavallo.
the horse,
Correct.
a,
Yes.
for,
la,
It's kind of simplified, isn't it? Just single vowel.
the, feminine, as
Abicirida.
in
a moghiera, la moglie,
A moghiera. Abicirida. That's la bambina, like the child, female. Abicirida. A bottiglia. The bottle.
for,
Yeah.
i,
and
le,
the, masculine and feminine plural.
i femmini,
That's true, actually. I never thought about it that way, but yeah, I femmine. It means the females, but we use it to say women. Yeah, I femmine.
The indefinite articles in Sicilian are for,
Okay, that's a little technical right now, so kind of boring. Let's go forward.
thing you thought you knew about verbs in Italian. Now, Sicilians love using the remote past
Very
tense.
true. Oh my gosh, my mom used to use this constantly. It was always remote past tense. Yes.
To talk about things that have already
Just-
happened,
yeah, I know.
whether it's something light years away from the present or an event that just happened moments ago.
That is so true. Instead, Italian either never uses it or they only use it for really remote, like freaking something that happened in the Bible. Sicilians have used the same verb conjugation for distant past for this morning, 10 minutes ago.
For example,
mi mangiai una persica, uora,
Water. Yeah, mi mangiai una piesca, I would say, but yeah, water.
mi mangiai una pesca, ora, ora.
Yeah, would I say ora in standard Italian? Probably no. I think I would translate it in standard as ho mangiato, first of all. Ho mangiato una pesca poco fa. That's how I would say it in Italian.
I've just eaten a peach.
Yeah.
Vi ludissi, ve l'ho detto.
Vurissi.
told
I
you.
would just say vurissi.
The future seems almost non-existent in Sicilian. What matters is the present. Now, as a famous writer wrote, how can you not be pessimistic in a country where the future tense doesn't exist?
Interestingly enough, even though in Italian you do have a future tense, it's something I often tell my wife when she wants to speak, like and say, how do I say I will go? In Italian you do have it, andrò, but a lot of Italians out of laziness just say vado. Domani vado, so tomorrow I go. Domani andrò a Roma is more correct, a little formal in fact, but in casual speech, domani vado a Roma, most Italians do it even in the mainland, and then it's a personal choice. But yeah, so you can avoid the future tense in Italian if you want and live in Italy your entire life. I like the sound of the future tense.
Hence, future actions are articulated using
Yeah.
the present tense, often adding a time adverb to
Yes.
hint when something is going to happen. For example,
Quando finisci di mangiare, niescio.
Yeah,
standard
that's
Italian
right.
you would say,
Quando finisci di mangiare ne esci. Se, non ne vai.
Quando finirò di mangiare, uscirò.
When I finish eating, I will go out.
Come i cateni.
Regno l'anno venturo.
In standard Italian, it would be
Vengo l'anno prossimo.
Anno venturo also exists in Italian. It's a little written/formal.
I'll come next year. The conditional tense, on the other hand, finds itself relegated to the shadows, replaced by the subjunctive mood. Take a look at these examples.
Se potessi o facessi.
Yep.
In standard Italian, you would say,
Se potessi, lo farei.
And then if you're uneducated, in standard Italian, you'll say se potrei, and everyone cringes.
if I could, I would do it.
Se potessi o facissi,
Se me l'avessi detto, ti l'avessi portato.
I would say puittato, but yeah,
In standard
That's
Italian,
just
it
me.
would be,
my
Se lo
accent.
avessi detto, te l'avrei portato.
So,
if you had told me, I would have brought it to you.
yeah.
The verb
Essere. Essere.
to be surrenders its auxiliary role to the verb
Avere. Avere.
to have. Take a look at these examples.
Aiustato.
Instead of,
Yep.
Sono stato.
I have been.
Avete stato.
Instead of,
Sei stato.
you have been. And when it comes to saying have to, in Sicilian they swap out dovere to have to for avere, as in,
Avete a travagliare.
That's correct. Avete a travagliare. You have to work. Yeah, avete a travagliare. Yeah, this is good. It's a good video though. I like it. I don't want to watch the whole thing, so give it a like. Go finish watching it so that we can give it a comment and a nice like and view. But yeah, you'll find a link in the description and in a pinned comment. But now, after all of this Sicilian, I loved it. It was nice, a little nostalgic if anything. I'm just gonna go play some games. So thank you for watching and joining Metatron's Academy. Ne vediamo.